going? Yeah? Welcome to the Sunshine Farm. I'm Jen, and I'm really happy that you guys want to join us for our videos. So I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about our lifestyle and how we choose to live. So we are a vegetarian homestead, which is quite different than what most homesteads are like. And it works really well for us, and it might work well for you too if that's something you're interested in. So what does that even mean? What I mean when I say vegetarian homestead is that we are mostly plant-based, that we're not producing animals for meat, and that our priority really is in producing food for our family without the source of animals in the process. So on top of being vegetarian, we are also dairy-free here, so we don't do any milk products or cheese products or things like that. We do have goats, but our goats are not dairy goats. They were rescues, so they don't produce milk because they don't have babies, so there's no reason to milk them. We do have chickens here, and we do eat their eggs, and that is a good source of protein for us and helps kind of round out our diet sometimes as well. Being a vegetarian homestead means that we're still interested in sustainability, we're still interested in producing food for our family, but we just don't use meat to do that. And I think that this can be really useful in a lot of ways. Hi Katie, come here. Hi. Do you want to come say hi? Hi baby. You're so sweet. Say hi. So there are definitely a lot of reasons to have a vegetarian homestead instead of, a homestead that's more based on meat production. And I would say a few of the things are, one, if you aren't emotionally able to carry out the process of harvesting an animal and then consuming the meat, I would say that's the biggest reason. If you can't be that connected with the process, I think it's important that you abstain from the product. So that's for me why I became mostly plant-based, is the emotional connection. I mean, I've always just been a super big animal lover, really, really sensitive to, the pain and suffering of animals, and I just would never be able to emotionally do that. I don't feel like that's something that's in me, and that's okay. I think we're all made differently, and we all have different connections with the world around us, and we're all sensitive to different needs, whether it's people, animals, the environment, whatever it is. I think being in tune with our own personality and the way God made us is a really beautiful thing, and it's okay if we see things differently. So that is the reason number one why I would say it can be a great thing to have a vegetarian homestead, is if you are not able to be connected with that process of consuming meat. So if you're really limited in space, I would say that's another reason to have a vegetarian homestead. And that is because raising animals requires space, it requires pasture, forage, whatever it may be, in order to do it in a way that produces animals that have healthy meat to eat. Also, in order to provide the animal with a humane environment, a natural environment for them to live in. And if you're limited in space, it's going to be really hard to do this. However, with space limitations, you can always, implement vertical gardening. You could always try new methods of growing things. You can produce, you can use a square foot method to gardening, and you can produce so much food in a much smaller space than I personally think you can with raising animals for meat. So I think that's a huge benefit. The third thing is cost. Animals are expensive. Things can go terribly wrong. You could lose all your chickens to a predator, lose all of them to disease. Same goes with pretty much a lot of other meat animals. They can need vet expenses. There's so many things that can go wrong with animals, and that can add up in price. On top of that, infrastructure to support animals can be really expensive. Goats require pretty substantial fencing, which can be expensive. Chickens require coops. those can really add up in cost. I mean, ours was over $1,000. You don't have to spend $1,000, but just to put it in reference, it can be really expensive to house chickens. Another great reason to have a vegetarian homestead is it's really easy to be healthy. You're relying on fruits and vegetables as your diet, and so you're looking at things straight from the garden to your plate, and it's really easy to use your garden that way. I know it can be hard to prioritize eating from the garden if your diet is very different than what the garden is, but when you have a plant-based diet, you're eating those things all year long, whether they're in the garden or not. So for us, the health aspect is huge. It saves money too. Seeds are not very expensive, and you can start saving your seeds. So you're not talking about having to buy an animal. You're talking about starting seeds, and that can go a lot longer in feeding you than one animal might be able to. And so it can be also more cost effective in that way. So one thing I'm really looking to do is to establish community around this idea of having, a homestead that is vegetarian in nature. So if you have one, if you want to start one, if you're interested in it at all, I'd love to hear from you in the comments or in a message. I really would love to engage community around this area, because I think that a lot of people just associate homesteading with having meat animals, and it's just not true to the definition of the word. It's all about creating a more sustainable lifestyle, that you're producing your own products for your family and living less off of needing to go to the grocery store or energy or whatever it may be. But I think that you can definitely do that without raising meat. Not to say that it's wrong to raise meat. For us, it's just better not to. Our convictions lead us to this lifestyle, and we really love it, so we want to share it for those who also might feel the same way. I hope that answered some questions about our lifestyle, the choices we make, and why we love it so much. So I thought I would share with you guys what we're making for dinner tonight, because it is plant-based and really, 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 really tasty. So we are making sweet potato Massaman curry. So this isn't really like 100% from the garden, because we don't have coconuts. We're in upstate New York. There are no coconut trees here. And we also did not grow sweet potato this year, but we will grow sweet potato next year. We just need to get some slips. So if you have any ideas on the best places to buy sweet potato slips for the Northeast, let me know. Love to hear your suggestions. But Massaman curry is a great way to get a hearty, yummy meal while also eating plant-based, because curry is so much flavor. It's so creamy. You get like the dairy-like taste, but it's all from coconut milk. The first thing I'm doing, I actually made rice last night, even though rice isn't really good as leftovers. But I was planning on making this last night, and then I realized I forgot to get the paste at the store, so I wasn't able to do that. But I picked it up. I use this stuff. I do want to make it myself at some point, but I don't have time for that right now. So definitely can make this from home, and will in the future. But my time has been very limited lately. I work full time. I get home at like 5:30. And I also am in school, although I'm on break right now for a holiday. So it's hard. It's hard to get things done after I get home from school. After I get home from work, I'm so tired. I just want to chill. I don't really want to make a very elaborate meal. So this is what the paste looks like. So I have the sweet potato boiling for a little bit. Then I have the curry paste with coconut milk. I'm just gonna stir it and mix it all up. It's so fragrant. It smells so good. Following the directions at the back of this, it's easy. Okay, so it says add chicken and potato. We're not doing chicken. We are doing tofu, which reminds me, I need to make tofu. We like this kind. It's from Trader Joe's. We get everything from Trader Joe's. So I'm just waiting for the cast iron pan to heat up so I can add the tofu. Whoa, I just added way too much. Oh well. It's been really crispy tofu.
Really good. It smells amazing. For all those who maybe are going to be listening to this.
I'm glad you think it smells good. Cool.
Is that enough, you think, for now?
Yeah, that's plenty.
Okay.
It's so rich. Massaman curry, woohoo! How do you feel about this meal?
I love Massaman curry. Okay.
So, did you ever think you would have a plant-based diet?
No, not once in the million years did I ever even really think about it, to be honest.
So what was the biggest trigger then for when you wanted to kind of do it with me, other than me doing it? What was the biggest trigger it was?
You obviously was important, but I think the biggest trigger for me was just kind of coming to a realization about all the poor practices that go on in the farm food industry, the animals for meat industry.
So for us, now that we have control over how we raise our animals and growing our own food, how come you would say we don't have meat animals?
I think just having the personal connection to animals and truly thinking about whether I would be able to or want to be involved in the process of killing or slaughtering one of our own animals just to do that, just to have meat. I'm sure if it was necessary, I could force myself to do it, but I don't think I would necessarily enjoy the process. I think eating the way that we do just kind of unlocks a lot of opportunities, allows you to reevaluate how you see food and why you eat the things you do. And
so in adopting a plant-based diet, I was really interested in how it would affect my levels of vitamins and minerals. But I was really interested to find that the only thing that was low, everything else was perfect levels except for vitamin D, which has nothing to do with my diet and everything to do with the fact that we live in a very low light region, especially in the winter time. Mm-hmm. Even if we're never outside because it's cold, and then when you are outside, the sun is often hidden away, so we just don't get a lot of sunlight. We're in the northern part of the country, northeast. So it's just pretty much standard that everybody has vitamin D deficiency. So it was just really cool to find out that adopting this lifestyle didn't affect my ability to get everything I needed from food. So I didn't want to share this in an effort to tell people this is how they should be living or to say that this is the best way to live, but only to kind of show a different side of farming or homesteading that isn't traditional. There's definitely people who raise animals for meat. They're connected with the whole process. That's part of their life, and that's fine with them, and they're not convicted otherwise. And I'm not to say that that's wrong or that they shouldn't be doing that, but it just wouldn't be right for me personally or for Chris. We're just different humans, and everybody has different experiences. Like, everybody's different in their choices they make, and it's not all black and white. That's what I think, at least. And my opinion is just an opinion.
Are you excited about the kitty cats? Callie, you excited about the kitty cats? Are they so exciting? What are you guys doing out there?